Join me for the greatest criminal undertaking in the history of villainy.
Hello everybody and welcome to Pretty Good Gaming. My name is Gareth Evans and this, right next to me, sat here, is Mr. Henry Cooper.
Good morning, or afternoon, or evening, however this finds you.
So today we are going to be talking about Hearthstone, specifically Hearthstone the Dalaran Heist. Make sure I say that right. I was calling it Dalarian Heist for so long, but it's Dalaran Heist, I can assure you of that. And I do like to say thank you to Blizzard for sponsoring this video. You can find a link to the Dalaran Heist and Hearthstone in the top of this video description if you want to go and check it out. We're here to talk about how much fun we've had playing it and tell you guys what fun you can have playing it and tell you all about it essentially. So the Dalaran Heist is the PvE experience. You might know Hearthstone as a PvP game. Now this is the PvE content that's arrived with the Rise of the Shadows expansion recently. Have you played Hearthstone before we had to pick it up for this video?
No, mainly because of the PvP element. I'm so terrible at most competitive gaming, so I like to play on my own solitarily and be miserable. Saying that this was PvE, that immediately ticked a massive box for me. And it's a card game. I don't really play card games, but I've been having a bunch of fun with how easy it is to pick up and understand, but also how tactical it can be as you start to like stack your deck so that you know these cards will inform each other and you throw it all together.
It's a very deep game and I'd played it in the past. I played it a couple of years ago probably and I picked it up for a while and I'd played it and enjoyed it to a large extent. Yeah. It's one of them games that you can pick up really quickly, but it takes so long to like master and it's maybe a little bit daunting. That's what this PvE content is aimed at, for people who want to get used to the mechanics, get used to the game, used to building decks and stuff, and used to some of the cards and the concepts, but don't want to be intimidated by having to do that all from scratch in a PvP arena or something like that. Yeah. So this is the Dalaran Heist, and I tell you what, I've had a lot of fun playing it, and that's not because I'm being paid to say it.
As I say, I don't really play card games. They're just never really my sort of thing, but I've loved the whole kind of world of it because there's all the characters, they're based on the World of Warcraft lore, right? Azeroth is a thing. There's a guy who looks like a ring wraith whose name is the Lynch King or the Lich King, something like that. As soon as I got his card, I was like, oh, I know this guy. He's gonna mess some stuff up.
Yeah, and it's got that like a really friendly aesthetic, and it's jingly, jangly music, which is really fun. And
all the characters have like funky voices. Some of them, I feel like they're deliberately designed to be like really annoying when they beat you.
Beat you and they rub it in.
But then it makes you really smug when you eventually beat them. This little goblin thing with a sack of money.
Okay, I guess we should talk a little bit about how it works. This is for like total newcomers who've never played this game and might think, I've never played a card game before. I mean, how does it play? Like, so first off, it's a board with 2 rows. Each player gets a row to play their cards, and it costs mana to play your cards. And now you get 1 extra mana per turn you get to spend. Once you're spent up, it's the end of your turn essentially. Draw 1 card per turn from your pack, and these cards can vary in difficulty or power, should we say. And the more powerful the cards, the more mana that they cost to play. The end of the game is when your hero gets to 0 life or the enemy hero gets to 0 life. It's game over. You've died or won or whatever. But these cards are I think it's the most exciting part of the game is like all the different cards, the abilities, and the effects that they have on the game, because there's so much wide variety of them and so many different things. For example, some cards have got this ability called Taunt, which is like a defensive thing. So nobody is allowed to attack any of the minions or cards that you've got played out or your hero until this taunt card has been killed. So it's like basically like a defensive type of ability, which is really, really cool. You've got other abilities like Rush, which allows your cards to attack the turn that they're played, because usually when you play a card you gotta wait till the next turn before attacking. And there's another ability that I like called Battle Cry, which gives you another additional determined effect. Like for example, so when you play it, that's when the Battle Cry applies, and it might spawn or summon 2 other cards alongside it, or have a different status effect. And I like those. There's, like I said, loads of different abilities. Keeps the games very varied.
And things are broken up into some minions, and they're the ones you play in the field. So you've got your creatures that have attack points and health points, and as you attack your enemy's minions, your health goes down. But if you directly attack their hero, your health stays fine. So there's a bit of a tactical element there. Like, do I get rid of this guy who's in the way, who's got a bunch of extra abilities like bonus spell damage, or heals every time anyone does anything?
That's it, yeah. That's where the strategy comes into it, right? So you got to assess your opponent's abilities and the damage damage that they can do to you on the next turn, and then figure out what you're capable of doing on your turn in order to either minimize their damage or maximize your damage. And it's a balancing act a lot of the time.
And if you're clever about it, you can even like bait them into killing themselves, because obviously if they're attacking your minions, they're receiving damage. So if you put out like a rubbish one, with just enough attack to finish off them, as they attack it, they can die, and then you throw out a bunch of really high level ones, and then you can clean the clock.
It's caught me, you know what I mean? Every so often you play a game and then it's like it itches at you to keep playing, and it really has caught me. I've been playing it non-stop for like 2 solid days. I knew I liked it in the past, but when I played this Dalaran Heist, oh my god, I was working out yesterday on the treadmill, and I had my tablet on the display on the treadmill, just playing it as I was running, and god, time passed. It's like a whole hour went past, and I was like, I should get off the treadmill. So how does the Dalaran Heist, the structure of it work? So it is a free-to-play game, Hearthstone. The Dalaran Heist is a single-player part of it, obviously, and it's cut into 5 chapters, the first of which is absolutely free, and it's called The Bank. The rest of the 4 chapters can be accessed if you purchase them with gold, which is 700 gold in-game currency, which you can earn by just playing the game. I've got up to like 460 gold by just playing the game so far, so I'm halfway to the next chapter. Or you can outright buy them. It's equivalent of like $7 each, $6.99 each for the chapters, or you can buy the additional 4 chapters for $19.99. And so far, playing and completing the Dalaran Heist on normal difficulty, it took me like 6 hours. You know, if you're concerned for how much value for money this is going to give you for $6, 6 hours of gameplay is about right. That was on a normal difficulty. After I beat it, I went back and replayed it again. So not only do you get that value there for the 6 hours, you can go on. It was like, what was it, the hard difficulty called? Heroic. And I'm still I've got to like level 7 on that, but I'm still trying to beat that now. But you know, there is a decent value there if you're interested in that. So I should talk to you about how each of the chapters work. So each of the chapters, you've got 8 enemies to beat in a run, as they call it. So you beat 8 enemies in a run, you've done it, you completed it, congratulations. However, if you lose, you go back to the start. So
and as you're going through and beating the enemies, you unlock new cards. You get like a selection of 3 different sets of 3, and you can, okay, that one's got cool characters with good abilities, I'll take that one and ignore the other one, move on. But if you die, you lose all of the ones you've collected and you're back to your starting deck. But even then, you can unlock, I think, up to 4 different decks to start with that are themed around different things. And then at certain points, you unlock like really good bonus cards that have like, some have passive effects. So you'll start off with a bunch of extra health, or all of your stuff costs a little bit less. Yeah,
these passive cards make a huge difference. They arrive after the first round and after the 5th round, I think. So it can make a huge difference to one specific run, depending on what passive card that you choose. You start off with a really small deck on chapter 1 with a relatively easy enemy to try and kill, and that you build your deck as you go along. But depending on what cards that you choose at the end of each round, your deck can be, you know, filled out in various different types. So each run could be totally different depending on how you build your deck out, and that's essential that you do build your deck right. That I've learned. If you don't build your deck right and you don't balance that right and you don't choose cards that complement one another, it can make a hell of a difference.
I'm currently running a run. My hero ability, because each hero gets a unique ability, and sometimes it'll be like you launch arrows at the enemy, or you can heal certain enemies or stuff like that. So my one is, it will reduce a random card in my hand's cost to play it, or reduce it by 2. And I've also got another ability on top of that, which means I can use my hero ability twice, and it's reduced in cost by 1. And now this is where it gets really interesting, because that ability only ever costed 1 anyway. So now I can use it twice for nothing. And it's an absolute win.
That's just an example of how they stack.
You can really put them all together, and they work perfectly.
There's a lot to learn with it, that's for sure. The spells, I must be honest, I haven't really got my head around how to use them in the best possible way. I've been building my deck towards like either mechs or like the legendaries or whatever. I've been kind of angling away from spells because I'm not quite ready to understand. This is the indication of like, it's easy to pick up, but it's like really hard to master this type of game.
A lot of the spells, if you're not careful as well, they can have negative effects on you as well. Like there's ones where I'll draw 2 cards for you and your opponent. So it's okay, cool, I get 2 cards, awesome. They get 2, and they could be better than mine. I have no idea, but if you're clever about it, you can, if they've got a full hand, draw that card, because they then can't take anymore, so it's just win for you and nothing for them.
And then after round 3 and 5, or 3 and 6 or something like that, you get a friendly encounter at the tavern. So you go to the tavern and you meet a character called Bartender Bob, or The Rock, as you like to call him.
He's absolutely voiced by Dwayne The Rock Johnson. I'm certain of it.
I've got news for you, dude. It's an actor called Rich and Stephen Horowitz. It's not Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
No, it's not. It's him.
Rakanishu, the scamp from the lab. You always brighten my day.
He's a guy who's done lots of voice acting and animation.
Impersonations of The Rock
in the past.
It's him. I don't care.
Bartender Bob's awesome, though, because he allows you to maybe take some cards from him to use in your deck to buff some of your cards, as well as other things that you might want to
get rid of some if you don't like them. They
Yeah.
come up randomly, and it's just a bad hand.
Another way to craft your deck as you're going along, and before you know it, you're towards the end of a run. You're in boss 7 or 8, and you've crafted this deck, and you've got loads of cards, 30 odd cards in your deck that you've crafted yourself, and you're familiar with them. And the more times you play it, you get used to using these cards over and again, and you know how to use them together. And it's a really good way of learning how to build a deck without even thinking about it, really, because if you play the PvP mode, you've got all these cards all over the place, and you've got to try and build 30 cards out of this deck, and the PvE mode just does it automatically for you. So there's that barrier to entry, having to worry about building a good deck in order to be competitive against other people. That's just all out the window because it does it for you.
Yeah.
And if you just go back a sec to, we're talking about that passive card, those passive cards that you can get.
Yeah.
One of the very best ones that I found so far is the one that makes everything half price.
Oh, it's so good.
So all the most powerful cards, instead of being 8 or 9 or 10 mana to cast, they're down to like 3 or 4 or 5. However, you can only play 2 cards per turn, which is a bit of a balance. It balances out a little bit. However, it's super powerful, right? Very first time I played the chapter, I got that card not knowing how powerful it was, right? And then I played through and I was on like boss number 7 thinking, this game is so easy.
Yeah.
I was like, I just smashed them all as I'm boss number 7. And then what undid me was that boss kept giving me loads of coins, which is like extra a card, which if I play it, I can get an extra 1 gem of mana for that 1 turn. However, because I'm only allowed to play 2 cards, it filled up my deck really quickly. When you allowed 10 cards in your hand, whenever you pull a new card from your deck, it burns instead of comes into your hand, and I can end up wasting loads of cards like that. And that's how he beat me. He took me down, and I was devoed. And I was like, I'm going to do it first time.
Yeah.
And then I learned on my second run, it wasn't really that easy all along.
It's not, is it? Because I was there like, Jesus, he's breezing through this. I'm having a real hard time. And then eventually, I got that one, and that was the round when I finally finished it, as I got the half price card. It was great.
Some runs, I find it's just like really difficult because you're not getting the rub of the green in terms of what cards that you get the option of taking, which is really difficult to take sometimes. And it's like, oh, come on, let me just start a new run and go again, so I can get these good cards. And I think that's part of the challenge of beating that enemy run, or those 8 enemies in a row. And that's what brings me back. That's what keeps me motivated to keep playing. I just want to beat him, right? And because I'm on difficult, or the expert mode now, whatever it's called. I just want to beat that and then get on to the next chapter.
And you can be going from like really, really winning the enemies on 1 health, and then they just completely flip the board and destroy you. Like they heal crazy. They just hit you with everything. Like there was one, I had this card, I can't remember what it was called, but it essentially swapped my team with the enemy team. So I was like, okay, I've got this. I've only got 2 people left on the board. I'll just let them go. If they've not got a lot of health or anything, they can just go. He killed them. I was like, boom, let's have it. Used that card. Took out all my mana. It's the only thing I could do that turn. Took all of his board, brought it onto my side. I was like, awesome, I've got this. What did he do in his next move? He did the exact same damn thing.
It's like his ability that he copied your cards, or he had a version of your card, every card that you play, or something like that.
He had a special, they call them secrets, which are spells you can equip that only trigger at certain events. Like anytime they spawn an enemy, you will destroy it immediately. So he had a secret which was copy the card that I just used, and he just totally nullify
your power move. But there you go. So we've definitely had a lot of fun playing it, and if you are interested based on what we've described to you, definitely go check out. Link in the top of the description, and it's free to play. There's definitely more 10 plus hours of free content if you're reasonably good at it too. On top of that, you've got all the other PvE modes and the PvP modes. Hearthstone it's definitely worth playing. I mean, I'm playing it, so
yeah, I had a great time. I played one PvP match and I did win, so that made me feel really like, yeah, I got this. I can play. Haven't gone near it again. Mind. I'm not ready for a real match, but yeah.
So there you go, Hearthstone, the Dalaran Heist. Go and check it out now. And on behalf of Henry and myself, we will see you again next time. Until then, bye for now.